Yeah, so I was thinking about like who could I compare him to in like the ancient canon of philosophy or like the pre-Socratics or Plato,
Mm,
Socrates, Aristotle. And I would
mm,
say he's kind of like a more imaginative, speculative Plato, where Plato was kind of focused. Even though he had the theory of forms and this, like I would say that's kind of comparable in the
mhm.
spiritual sense of things.
Totally.
I think Steiner was more imaginative and just speculated a lot more based on his meditations and things that he was experiencing in these deep states of meditation and stuff like that, is where Plato kind of still based things off mathematics and logic and things of that nature.
Well, I have to add that there's some lore with Steiner, and if you buy into the lore, that one of his reincarnations, his past lives, was as actually Aristotle. But so then they place Goethe, which is Steiner's main influence, as Plato. So then you have this relationship of Steiner, Goethe, Aristotle, Plato. But I think you're dead on though, because Aristotle was like the great systematizer, which is why Steiner wrote 10,000 volumes. But because he's got the foresight of all these other lifetimes, if you believe again the lore, he's just integrated so much. So he's integrated Plato and Aristotle in a way that the two were really not integrated, in their lifetimes. So yeah, I love I think that we have both strong comparisons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard that before. And yeah, to add on to that point, because I do know a lot about the ancient Greek philosophers, you had Socrates and his student Plato, and they used mathematics and logic to drive their points home. And then you kind of evolve into Aristotle, and he kind of starts his own thing where he's using biology to drive his points home. And I think that that's kind of where I would say the difference between Aristotle and Steiner was Aristotle was more concerned about, you know, basically materialism and biology and things that can be observed within nature. And as you mentioned, Steiner was a scientist early on. However, later on, it got more mystical and more mystical. So I think that he started to drift further away from those ideas, if you will.
Well, of
Uh,
course, he would call it spiritual science, not mysticism. So, but I completely take your point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to the average, based on his own terminology, but yeah, to the average person listening to him, I don't think you can help. The first few times I listened, I'm like, this dude's super
Wow.
mystical, So
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.